Greetings, and welcome to Hearts and Heels. I'm your host, Shay Robinson, in the studio tonight, and you are in the place where we talk about everything from your heart to your heels. So stay tuned tonight because we are going in. The number to call in is 334-318. 6375. That is 334-318-6375. You can also call in toll free at 844-278-9827. And for you who don't know, that is the call for 844-ASUWVAS. Listen, go grab someone, tell them to come in because we are talking about it tonight. After all these years, I still don't understand. And I got a couple things that I need to get off my mind today, and I want to share them with you. Before I go into those things, I do want to give a shout out to Titus Showers for inviting Hearts and Heels to his live concert on last Friday. We had an amazing time worshiping, celebrating God. He did amazing things. So if you want something new to listen to, maybe check out his CD. Again, it's Titus Shower. He has a wonderful song out. It's an amazing song. So go check him out when you have a chance. I want to give a shout out to WVAS, as we are one of the stations that really share jazz for Jazz Appreciation Month on this April. So make sure you tune in all day, every day as we share jazz in the world. Now, I back to the topic at hand. I've been struggling and thinking about just different things that we could chat about tonight, and a couple things came to my heart and my mind as a couple weeks. All a lot of things have been said in media. It's amazing how social media have it's allow a lot of people to share their voices and to share their thoughts and their perspective about life. And I still have some questions, like after all these years, I do not understand why men are still trying to put an expiration on women's usefulness. I have been watching this young man, and I won't even say his name on this station because I don't want to give him those type of credits. But there's a man on social media. He has been for the past couple of years talking to women, sharing his thoughts and perspective about women, giving them grades, numbers to tell them how beautiful they are, how if they are an 8, they should only expect an 8. I mean, he's done all these things, and I really hadn't engaged him or really had anything to say about his type of platform, because I think that's his platform. But I got a little frustrated the other night because he was talking about after women turn 35, their usefulness just goes away. Like at that point, men see women differently. They see them as somebody that is useless, and that at that point, women should just be ready to share men. That it's no longer a place where women should expect men to be faithful and to only focus on them. Now, that kind of triggered me a little bit because I think that is very poor taste to say at 35 that a woman is useless. And maybe I'm confused. Again, I need your comments and your questions because I want to talk about it. The number is 334-318-6375. That is 334-318-6375. Toll free at 844-278-9827. Where I don't get where men can decide when I have stopped being useful in this society. I know that women are reproductive agents, and we birth everybody into this world. I get it. So I do get that some, as you get older, that your reproductive system changes, and that life changes. You're not as lifted as you were before. Your butt is not as round as it used to be. may get a little wrinkles on your face that you didn't have before. I do get that those things are there, but our usefulness, our value is not tied up into our age. At what point are we going to stop women allowing men to make these comments about us and let them be acceptable? At what point are men going to stop making these comments about women and our age and our usefulness? Because I don't know about you, I am beyond that 35 year old mark. I know I look like I'm like 22, so I'm gonna go with that all the time. But I'm beyond that mark. I just don't. But it doesn't matter because it still does not mean that I'm not useful, not only to society but to whoever I'm loving. Like we put so much value in what other people think and what other people feel. I just heard his comment, and I heard so many single women out in this world who are still searching for love and looking for someone to want to only be with them, and still somewhat trying to find their place in society, because we all are ways are looking for that there. If we are all truthful, we're looking for that moment that really determines or we define who we are. We're seeking purpose. Hence the reason we read these books, purpose driven life. We're looking for, why are we here in this world? If for someone to put in the atmosphere that women are not useful after the age of 35, I am just completely frustrated. And I want the world to know, I want every man to know that you have got to stop after all these years. You have got to stop putting your limitations on women, because we are still having babies at 50. We are still achieving goals at 50. We are still looking great at 50. And a lot of us are looking great without the BBLs and everything else and the breast lifts and all this stuff. We are still rocking it at 50. We are still setting records at 50. We are still breaking barriers at 50. We are still mothering children at 50. We are still out in the workforce at 50. We are still doing wonderful, marvelous, great things at the age of 50 and beyond, 60, 70. I was looking at Michelle Obama, and she was talking about her age. I didn't even know she was that as old as she is. I think she's over 55. But I was like, oh my gosh, look at her. So it is unfair. It is improper. It is wrong for you to set these limitations, because my God said I could do whatever exceedingly abundant. He can do exceedingly abundant above all we can ask or think. That whatever he thinks for us is beyond what we think. So that means that whatever he desires for me to do, I can do at whatever age. And I think it brings such hopelessness to women who are looking for these things. Hence the reason we have depression and anxiety, and during this month we have been talking about stress management and stress awareness, because we have so much stress because we allow society to define us in so many ways. In addition to him, there was somebody else, which I'm still not going to call their names, because you're not worthy for your name to be called when you are degrading, downgrading. I'm talking about shutting down, putting down women. We just got to stop this. After all these years, I still don't understand why we're here. But someone else came out and talked about being a dictatorship. And he talked about how, some women are out here and saying they're bosses, but they can't even cater to their man, or um, they don't know how to cook, or they don't know how to do this. Now, y'all know that hit me pretty good, because I'm not the chef in my family. I am not the one that, my husband does a marvelous, wonderful job at cooking. He cooks way better than I do. I do my dishes and I stick to those dishes. And God has provided for myself and my family over the years. So I'm not the chef by no means. So when someone wants to always define a wife's role as a chef or a cook in the family, that just frustrates me, because every marriage is different. Like we should be able to define how our marriage look. And if you want a woman who can cook, then that's between you and your significant other. Don't put that on every woman in the world, because every woman wasn't born to just be in the kitchen cooking. Every woman is not a housewife. If you ask some women who are working, they'll tell you, "Oh no, I can't do that. It requires a different kind of skill." And I say, God bless you to those, hats off to those women, because a lot of us over this pandemic, we've had to experience what it's like to be at home with the children, constantly, consistently rearing them in that way. Shout out to my mom and my grandmother who had to do those things and who was there for those things. I give it to you. You did an amazing job and a wonderful job, and I'm not taking away from anything. But what I'm saying is, take the caps off and stop defining. Men, stop defining. Like, I don't understand why we're still having these conversations about what a woman should do and what she shouldn't do and how she should do this. What? I don't get it. We should be done with this conversation and stop trying to define things and put barriers on things. After all these years, we're still here in this place, still trying to grapple with roles and responsibilities. Just allow that person, that woman, to make her own role. If you have your own personal view, have your personal view within your family, but don't set that out on the world. Because I can be a boss without knowing how to cook. And satisfying my man may not be cooking. So why do you have to say you can't be a boss without satisfying a man? Why do you have to say that you're no longer useful after the age of 35? I'm just asking questions tonight. Tonight is about me understanding, after all these years, why are we still here? Why are we still demonizing the woman who God gave man? God said, after all these things, like he made these things, he said, "Oh, it's good." Day one, "Oh, this is good." Day two, "Oh, it's good, this is good." But when he made man, he said, "It's not good. It's not good for man to be alone." So he created woman to be a helpmate. And my help may not be in the kitchen. My help may not be at the house cleaning up. I can pay somebody to come clean. I can pay somebody to cook. However my help is, let me define my help. I'm a woman. I have brain. I can think of how I want to utilize my time, my energy, my space. God has given me that freedom. But more than that, God has connected me to the right man to be able to understand who I am and allow me to be the woman that I need to be. So, men, stop defining women. Stop putting your blankets over women. Or women need to hush. Hush why? I'm trying to figure this out. Hush why? Why do we need to hush? What are we hushing about? The Bible says study to be quiet. That means understand the moments when to talk, when not to talk. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, uh-huh. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna study when to talk. I'm gonna study when to not talk. But what I don't need you to do, man, is tell me that I got to shut up. And if you want to quote scripture, let me help you. I don't understand after all these years why we quoting scripture if we really don't know the meaning of the real reason behind them. Like, why are you sitting here quoted trying to tell me, well, in the Bible he said the woman to shut up? You don't even understand that during that time it was all these things happening. There was so much confusion. So he was saying, okay, instead of, so we can have some order, so we can know exactly what needs to happen when it needs to happen. We want the women to talk to the men at home so we can keep down confusion here, because then they were the ones in power. He wasn't saying that women should not have a say. And stop using submission as your way of, the woman should submit. Submit is strength. When I hush, I am being strong. That means I'm bridling my tongue. That means I'm controlling my thoughts. I'm controlling my actions. I'm controlling who I am, because I'm believing that God is going to fight a battle for me. So submission is not weakness. Submission does not mean that I do not have an opinion. Submission does not mean that I can't go out here and be a boss. Submission means that I'm strong enough to understand that God is working on my behalf in whatever that situation with my husband and with other people. But what we can't do is quit. We can't keep misquoting scriptures and putting scriptures in places that don't belong. And man, you guys stop telling us what we can and we can't do. Now I submit to my husband. I understand that he is the head of my house. I respect him for that, and I give him all the admiration that he deserves, and I'm gladly submitting to him every single day. And he gladly recognizes who I am and what I am, what value I bring to him and to our family. That's where we got to get to, appreciating the value. Because the woman may not be able to cook, but she may be able to organize and plan for you to have your meals ready every day. I'm just after all these years, I'm trying to figure out why. Now I got some more things that we need to talk about. This is just one thing because it has gone down, and I need to talk about them. Listen, stay tuned. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be right back here on Hearts and Hills. You're listening to Shay, and tonight we're talking about after all these years, I still don't understand why. Thank you, gracious gal. She said you got to rightly divide the word of God. Amen. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You listen to Hearts and Hills. Thank you guys for joining tonight. Please share, share, share. Let somebody know that we are talking tonight. We're talking about everything. I'm a little frustrated. These men out here calling us out, trying to do their own thing, and I don't understand. I do not understand why they trying to tell us what to do and tell us how to do things. But hey, to each his own. I'm not going to call their names because I do not want to give them that. I don't want to give them that strength. But tonight we're talking about um, why are we still going through this? And I need you to stay tuned because I'm about to talk about my Karen moment that I had because I still don't understand why after all these years we still having them. So stay tuned. We're on commercial break on the radio. Invite someone in. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Rashima Smith. I appreciate you. Shout out to you, girl, for being here with me, and thank you for commenting. Y'all comment. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your feelings about men trying to tell you that at 37 you are not useful anymore, or that a man is telling you that you can't be a boss if you don't know how to cook. Let me know what your thoughts and your opinions are. I want to share them tonight. You can also call in. I'm going to switch gears in just a few moments, talk about my Karen moment, because I'm still not understanding after all these years why we still here as black and white brothers and sisters. Amen. Hearts and Heels is on every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Central Standard Time. We got some guests, some wonderful guests coming up over the next couple weeks. So make sure you tune in and listen, okay? Y'all like my makeup? I tried to put a little makeup on today. I'm trying to do better. Again, shout out to Titus Showers. We just had an opportunity to share with him in his album release. It was an amazing concert. He honored William Murphy at the concert, so we got a chance to see him. Jonathan Slocum was there, so we got a chance to hear him, which he was super funny. And we got a chance to just hear his entire CD. If you want something new to listen to, he has that old school, uh, new school kind of feel. Oh, thank you guys. I'm trying to be cute. I want to be like y'all when I grow up. But he has that old school feel to his voice, and you talking about can sing, he can sing. So make sure you go and tune in to his, listen to his CD. And we're going to get ready to come back on in the air. Thank you guys for staying through the commercial break. I'm just rambling through this commercial. Next time I have some stories for you during the commercial break. Mm-mm. We're talking about Shay's Karen moment. It is, it wore me out. It's amazing what depletes your energy. Um, what makes your spirit, what vexes your spirit. So when I say energy, I mean my hypeness. So not spiritual, okay? Hearts and we're back. And we're back on Hearts and Heels. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your host, Shay Robinson. Remember, if you're interested, you can call in, share your comments, share your thoughts at 334-318-6375. That's 334-318-6375. Now, if you missed it, the first part of the show, I just talked about, well, tonight I'm talking about after all these years, I still don't understand. And I just shared some recent comments that I saw. Again, just men always trying to define what a woman can and can't do. I'm switching gears because now I want to tell you about my moment because I'm still not understanding why we are dealing with so much hate in America between blacks and whites. Like after all these years, I still don't understand. Maybe I am too naive to think that we could have had challenges in the past, but we can still move towards the future. And I'm just talking about my personal experience and what it made me feel. So I'm not talking about what was on the internet or what was shared. And I have not shared this with anyone else, but there was a recently I was trying to park. I was trying to park. I was looking for a parking space, and the parking lot was full. So I kept traveling around and around and around and around, and I was hoping that I could. We have a phone call. Okay, well, before I get into the story, we have a phone call. So we're going to take this caller first before I get into my story. Stay tuned because I am going to share with. Hello, caller. Hi, caller. How are you? I'm sorry. Thank you. Oh, what did I tell the truth about? That's right. You can't live without us. Uh, why do you think men have always traditionally? Yeah, why do you think men have traditionally always? Um, I'm sorry. That's right, because we know what to do and what not to do, don't we, sir? What's your name? Ooh. What's your name? Oh, you can't tell me that. Well, I tell you what, a wife, a girlfriend, if you hear him, he has acknowledged that women rule the world. Amen. Amen. You do care. Well, we. Well, I thank you so much for calling in and sharing with us tonight. We appreciate you listening to Hearts and Heels. You're right. You're right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening to Hearts and Heels. Now he just told us he just called in and clarified that women are the greatest. So thank you so much. We know that, sir. We appreciate you sharing. So for all the men out there, make sure you tell your woman that. Sorry, social media, we had to switch gears really quickly, but here we are back to Shay's Karen moment. So Shay was driving. Shay is me. I was driving around the parking lot. I was looking for somewhere to park, and I was searching. I found a parking space. When I parked, I was totally. I got out the car, talking on the phone with my cousin, and we were having a great conversation, just encouraging each other. Talking about scriptures. Just generally having conversation. I get out of the car, and this lady, I was in this place, and I had a certain pass, and I won't clarify the place that I was in, but I had a pass to be there. Let me just tell you, I had the right to be there. And I got out the car, dressed nice. I had my makeup on, hair done. Girl, ladies, I was ready for the meeting. And this older white lady, she stops her car. She is sitting behind me, waiting for me to get out my car. As I'm getting out my car, she shouts out, "You do know this parking lot is for certain people." And I just stopped in my tracks because I was not ready for this. I was not expecting this. Even though I have seen so many recordings, I just was not expecting this to happen to me. Then I said, "What?" I said, "Excuse me? You do know that this parking area is for certain people." And I looked at her and I said, "I am certain people." And then she just slammed on her gas and just drove off because she saw me picking up my phone. Because at this point, I'm about to get your tag number and I'm about to report you for harassment, because what you're not going to do is come up behind me. And I felt so violated. I felt violated because why are we in this place in this season where we're still, as Black people, trying to prove to other people that we belong? Like we belong in spaces that you don't think we belong in. Like at what point, what do I have to do for others to see? What do we have to do as Black people for others to see that we are somebody? I think I was reading something one day, and this guy said, "I don't teach." He's a teacher. He said, "I don't teach my children that Black people were slaves. I teach them that Black people were enslaved." And that really hit me because that is what it was. We were enslaved, but we are not slave people, because when you say that we're slaves, that means that you're defining who we are. No, we are intelligent, we are smart, we are in places and spaces that we've never been before, and we do belong. We do belong. I don't understand when we're going to get rid of the point where skin tone is defining how we treat, and how we treat people, and how do we see people, and for us to determine where we think they belong. Like, you need to stay. Our skin tone should not have any bearings on what we think and feel about what other people should do. As a matter of fact, can I just say this? Can I just say this? Mind your business. Like, if somebody's not screaming and hollering for help, mind your business. Stop looking at me, because what I may look like something on the outside, but I may be something different on the inside. That's why God said, "You judge from the outside, but I'm looking on the inside. I'm looking on what's happening internally, because I know people's heart." But we judge so much on people's outside. We do have a caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to Hearts and Heels. What's your name? Hello. Hey, caller. Welcome to Hearts and Heels. What's your name? Hey, caller. How are you? Welcome to Hearts and Heels. What's your name? Okay, something's happening. We're here. Caller. Well, we'll wait until he gets on. But I'm just trying to get to this point, guys, where we got to get beyond these color barriers and these walls, and we got to stop defining each other. God says, I'm looking for the heart of man. Hence the reason David was one of his favorite, because he knew it wasn't who David was on the outside, but it was his heart. It was what he showed, what God saw in the inside. We got to start looking at the inside of things, guys, and stop looking on the outside of things. That really, really did do something to me. It really hurt me, and showed something deeper about the dichotomy of our world. I'm this professional woman. I'm dressed nice, and I'm just going in to have a meeting, and this is the comment that I get. At what point are we going to stop looking at each other and defining each other by our color. So many things have happened, and I got so many other stories I could share. Just recently, things have happened. Ready? So many things have happened, and I just can't. I don't understand why we are still in this place in this world where color is a barrier, and we can't see the beauty of each other. It's so many array. We're rainbow. We so many beautiful things. Imagine if we just step back and just really start looking at each other how God really sees us. Imagine if we can start um, step back and start looking at each other from the eyes of God. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine what it would be like if we changed the way, or if we change what we judge people by. Our measuring stick change. We're so judgmental. We keep defining each other. We keep putting each other in these boxes. But I just told you that, God can do exceedingly. We keep prejudging people, putting our mouth on people. We got to stop doing that. I'm going to tell you, that was a really hurtful moment. And I know so many of you have so many other stories, and I've heard and I've interviewed people who talked about, slavery, and talked about their experiences with people who have felt like that they've been mistreated. One of my mentors, Cheyenne Webb Christberg, she has shared her experiences. That was over 50 years ago, but we're still here. Why? Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You're listening to Hearts and Hills. Thank you all for staying tuned with us. I'm sorry that I had to transition in the middle of the show, but we're trying to get some callers in. So we thank God that people are calling in, and we appreciate your patience as I'm moving around the studio. Um, I just want you to know that was really disheartening experience for me. It was really hard for me to take, and it was really hard for me to deal with. Now, I got to talk to my technician for just a moment, so I'm gonna put you on mute so you won't hear the technical things that he's about to tell me. But we're getting it in here at Hearts and Hills. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for tuning in. I just traveled back in time over here to my area before. Stay tuned. We got some more things that I have questions about. Let somebody know that we are on Hearts and Hills. Thank you, Gracious Gal and Rashima Smith, for continuing to share your comments. And I have another feeling. I have another thought today. Welcome back to Hearts and Hills. Thank you so much. We're sorry for the previous caller that we could not get you through, but know that the lines are back open and ready. And we do have a caller on the line. Hello, caller. Hi, how are you? I'm doing well. How about yourself? Thank you for calling Hearts and Hills. What would you like to share with us? Okay.
watched and seen the progress of black women progression in this country for quite a while, and the evidence of where we're going with the possibility of probably going backwards than we were going forward. I remember the era of civil rights groups. It was men in charge by black men. Black men went to charge. Black men brought in food in the black community. And when the feminist movement came into the black community, that's when everything went another direction. Yeah. That's when everything went another direction. They started offering into the black learning institution. Well, women decided they're not going to stay at home. They're going to build an education to build their position. I don't know how old you are, but you might have not lived long enough to make a judgment on that problem. Maybe you should ask questions to an older person, then get an opinion about what you're saying.
Well, I appreciate your comment, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that comment. And I do understand your perspective, and I appreciate your perspective. But I still was very offended because I felt like it put women in such a box. And I do agree that there are some values that we are growing from. So I can understand what you're saying. Like women are different and things are happening different. I get that, but I still don't think you can say after a woman is 35, when a woman turns 35, she is useless. And I've heard several of his shows. It's to me that was the offensive moment. Now all the other shows that he's talking about, I can understand some of the things he's saying, but when you start putting a age on people after 35, you're done. So I'm useless. At that point, I no longer can expect a man to be faithful to me. I no longer can have expect love and expect someone to be committed only to me. I no longer can expect a man to say to me, "Hey, yeah, I feel like you're worthy and you can still accomplish life." I think that's where the difference comes. But I thank you so much for your comments. And I'm going to listen to a couple more of his shows just because you called in and said I should and not make rash judgments. I appreciate you calling Hearts and Hills. Keep listening, okay? Okay. Thank you, caller, for calling in Hearts and Hills. And remember, we want you to keep calling 334-318-6375 or 1-844-278-9827. The men are calling in, women, and they are talking about my comments because I have gone in on yes, his name is Mr. Samuels. I've gone in on him making that comment about at the age of 35, women are no longer useful. Again, the number is 334-318-6375. And I also went in on a comment by another young man who said that you can't be a boss if you don't know how to cook. I did it. That's not true. Now, tonight, we have been talking about, after all these years, I still don't understand why. And here's my next one. I still don't understand why we stress ourselves out trying to prove ourselves to others while continuously disappointing ourselves. Can somebody, like, this month we've been talking about stress, and you should have seen a lot of things out here about stress and life and so much stress. And I have seen this young person the other day was so stressed about proving themselves to someone else. And then that person talked about how depressed they feel because they've given so much to everybody else and what everybody else think that they forgot to feed themselves. Like, after all these years, why are we still stuck in this place of always trying to please others? Like, why? Ask yourself, why are you trying to please? Not to say that you don't have to do your job. You do your job because you're there for your job, and your responsibilities and your roles and all these things that you're involved in engaging. You give your commitment where your commitment. But when you're trying to prove yourself to someone, when you're trying to prove your value, your worth, then and what if you have to prove it to them? then do you really need to be in that relationship? Is that really the best friendship for you? When you have to prove your value and your worth? I'm just trying to ask. Gracious Gal shared with us on Facebook. There's a book by Les Brown, and it's called "When Pleasing You Is Hurting Me." Amen. When pleasing you is hurting me. That is a great title, because we get so caught up in pleasing each other and trying to make everybody love us, and trying to be the life of the party, when we just want to be in the back and sitting down and just enjoying life, where we're trying to make others see us in a light that is different than who we really are. And really, we become a form of ourselves, and we become actors and actresses. We get on the stage and we're performing in front of people. Do you know how much energy it takes to be on a performance level at all times? You're constantly in front of people, trying to prove to them that you are worthy of their love, worthy of their attention, worthy of their affection, worthy of their forgiveness, worthy of their comfort, worthy of their company. Why? Because there are people out here who would love to be a part of your life for just who you are. Because again, you're performing, so you're always on, so you're constantly exerting energy, and I literally mean energy, to be in someone's life. You're constantly thinking, you're having to keep yourself in the mode. You worry so much about what you're going to wear, how you're going to look, and you get so caught up in these things that you forget who you are as a person. And this is what it does, because I saw this in one particular action. And this young lady was sharing with me. It leaves us alone, it leaves us afraid, and it leaves us angry. Alone, afraid, and angry. When you're trying to convince someone that you are great and that you're worthy of them, you at that point start telling yourself that you're not enough, that your value is not at the top, and you got to do these extra things. Hence the reasons we do have these BBLs out here. We do have these, all these enhancements, and we got to put on 7 stages of makeup to trim, tone, and get everything where it needs to be. And we got 1,500 shapers on, to make, because we're always trying to prove to others that our value is something, when we should be able to look in the mirror and see what our value is. Because being alone, being afraid, and being angry does nothing but put you in darkness and depression, cause you to forget who you are. And then you can never find your purpose, because now you have exchanged God's purpose for your life for whoever purpose that you're trying to get their attention with. And the worst part about, trying to prove yourself to somebody else is that you keep disappointing yourself. You keep disappointing yourself. You keep disappointing yourself. I'm going to say it one more time. You keep disappointing yourself. Over and over again, you keep telling yourself, I am not worthy. I am not fearfully and wonderfully made. I am not above. I am beneath. I am the borrower. I'm not the lender. And all of those things go against what you've been designed to do and to be. Yes, some people will not accept you. And yes, it may be the crowd that you want to be in. But I have a question: is that the crowd that you need to be in? I'm just saying, darkness, darkness hates the light. And the light I'm giving you tonight is that you don't have to keep stressing yourself out to prove yourself to someone else. I tell you what, put that energy, put that time, put that money into just just loving yourself and accomplishing your own goals. Focusing on the things that you need to do, the calling and purpose and destiny on your life. When Mary and Martha was um, they were tending to, Jesus had come to the house and Mary and Martha was sitting around doing different things. Martha was in the kitchen cleaning and Mary was at the feet of Jesus, and Martha was like, hey Mary, don't you see we need to get in here and cook this food and clean up, and then we go back to that cooking and clean again. But Martha's like, come on in here and do this thing. And Jesus said, hey, you missed the point. She is doing the more important thing at this time. And I'm gonna tell you, stop trying to do everything for everybody else and do what's more important for you at that particular time. Now, we have talked about everything. I got one more thing to ask you before we leave out on this show tonight. Thank you for our callers. Remember, you can call in at 334-318-6375. Stay tuned. You have been listening to Hearts and Heels. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate you coming in and talking with us and sharing your feedback and your comment. Let somebody know. I'm just saying, y'all, we cannot be dark and deep and disappointed and depressed because we're so focused on everything else. We can't do that. We got to grow from that. It's important that we grow from that place and just have, understand who we are, who what we should believe, and that's what's more important. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got some more things coming up after this. We're sharing tonight. We're sharing tonight. Thank you guys for traveling back and forth with me. I appreciate it. We have been going from place to place because it has been on and popping. We've had some calls. So I love calls. Thank you. There we go. I'm going to put you in the catty corner. Welcome back to Hearts and Heels. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm your host, Shay Robinson. Remember, if you have questions, you can call in at 334-318-6375. If you have comments, you can call in at 334-318-6375. If you have corrections, you can call in at 334-318-6375. Tonight, I've just been talking about, after all these years, I still don't understand why. I thank you. I want to thank the callers that called in tonight. They gave me their feedback. Shout out to the men who had a lot to say about my comments earlier. I stand firm on the comments of you cannot tell me at the age of 35 a woman is no longer useful. I stand firm on that, men out there in the world. But hey, you can call in and argue it all you want. I love it. I appreciate it. I thank you for it. We have talked about that. We have talked about that men should always expect women to just be a cook only, that you could be a boss and not know how to cook. It's okay. We can do that. We have talked about, we are too far after over 50 years of fighting for civil rights. Why are we still in this place where our color is defining where we are, what we're doing, and how we perceive people. Like after all these years, I still don't understand why we're in this place, why we can't grow from it, why we can't see differently, that our color does not define us, that it's the inside, that is the true us, because that is only what God sees. We have to take that judgment off. In addition to that, I've also talked about, I don't understand why after all these years we are driving ourselves crazy trying to prove ourselves to other people, when at the same time we are hurting ourselves, when we're letting down ourselves. I remember this comment. I was so frustrated because when you I talk a lot about the church, but that's a lot of who I am. I remember being in the church, and there was this I was so disappointed because this little old lady was so mean and nasty, and she looked saved from the outside. She had the hat on, the dress on. I'm thinking like she been in church all her life, 50, 60 years, and she thought she was so mean. She was so nasty, and I didn't understand why. And she really was deceitful, and she talked about me and all these things. I was really hurt. And I remember in that moment when I was asking God why, and he was like, we let ourselves down all the time, so others would let us down too. Stop just putting your expectations at other people, and stop giving them that strength and that energy to have that. And my last thing for tonight, as I talk about, after all these years, I still don't understand why. I do not understand why we are covering up our fears with the talk of faith. I don't understand why we're pretending that we have all this faith when we're still living in fear. I don't understand it. Why? We are covering it up. Y'all, okay, so this is it. It is similar to what I just talked about before, where we have these, where we have made up ourselves and we have the right sayings. You ever ask someone how you doing? They say, "Oh, I'm high lifted up, I'm blessed and highly favored." They give you all these different things, right? And you think to yourself, okay, but they really can't share with them why. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When we're covering up, when we're really living a life of fear, but we're saying we're walking in a life of faith. You hurting yourself. You hurting yourself. All right, we have a caller. Welcome, caller, to Hearts and Hills. How are you? Hey, caller, how are you? All right, he's going to get the caller back together because we have a caller who wants to give their. Hey, caller, how are you?
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me? Well, go ahead and share your comment, sir.
I cannot even hear you. So I'm further away.
All right, can you hear me now?
I, I, I still don't hear you. Sorry.
Well, go ahead and share your comment.
Huh?
Go ahead and share your comments.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make the point because I think to get me, I just sound like this. I just wanted to share some things, so I was distracted. So trying to get this down right for you.
Okay.
I wanted to add, I wanted to get there. How old are you? Did you ever go with your parents, with your mother, your father? And did you have a strong father figure in your life? And just because I want to add, God, we give you that question. It's not that wrong. You can hang up. I just want to give you a point. Just because further about Elvis, what he was trying to do. But I think you got a good understanding. You know, this man is 60 years old. I know that was part of it. I didn't have a biological father, but I did have a stepfather. And I
Mm-hmm.
understood when he spoke, I had listened. And I understood what he said when he spoke. So I just want to clear it up that when you reach a certain age, the desire of what a man want out of one at a certain age is begin to put escort. You always looking for something younger and attractive. Will she listen? Will she do what I ask? Not be a master like a slave master. Think you that you must do what I tell you to do. But when you listen and will communicate with each other and make the home a better place for both. So I think I understand Calvin's words clearly. Is that today modern women find it offensive. So if you want to emphasize today, but you don't want to hear what a man wants. The man wants something out of a woman. Not that he wants a sexual relationship. He wants a relationship that just fulfill our needs while we're supposed to bring peace, comfort, and I'm supposed to be doing the same. So I hope I got my point across about things. But yeah.
You did. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you calling, sir. And I did get your questions and I did hear what you what you said. Um, okay, so I have been married for 20 years. Um, and we do have three kids together. And let me say this, I do understand the Proverbs 31 woman, which a lot of men preach and minister about, and they talk about when they talk about the woman. And I get that, and I'm not saying that we're going against that. I'm just telling you that's not the only the way that we're defined. Because when God say helpmate, does helpmate only ends up in kitchen and household work, or does helpmate end up into other things? No, I did not grow up with my father. My father died when I was 2 years old, so I did not grow up with my father. However, I did grow up with strong men in my life, and my husband is an alpha man. I heard you mention that, and I'm very much an alpha woman, but I understand that I submit my alphaness to my husband because he is the head of the house. I understand God's will and God's way and God's perfect. And again, I'm only responding because you directed some things to me, and I thank you for calling. I love it. Challenge me, please. I just don't think that women are only defined by those things. That's all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. That we can be so many things, just like men can be so many things. So can women. Like cooking is not the only thing. If you cook better than I do, cook. If I could go out here and mow this lawn better than you, let me go out here and mow this lawn better than you. Why can't we have these roles? That doesn't mean that I'm changing who I am. I'm not submitting to you. If I make more money than you want me to take my money away? I mean, what do you want me to do? I'm just saying that women can do so many things and we're great. I thank you for your comment, and I do understand what you said, sir. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts and experience. And obviously, I need to have another conversation about this because you guys want to talk more and more about the women in the male roles, and I love it because that's what it's all about. So we are at the end of the show. I hate to leave, but we got to leave tonight. We're only on for an hour. Next week, we'll be here at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Shay Robinson. And looks like I'm going to have to plan me some shows to talk about the roles in life between men and women. Thank you. Shout out to all my callers. It's all the men in the house. The men have ruled the land tonight. Ladies, y'all let me down because y'all didn't call in and help defend the women's right to be whatever we want to be. But hey, I'm the show's host, so I'm going to say it. Stay strong, women. Stay strong. Stay strong and stay soft at the same time. Love you guys. Remember, whatever you do, do it with all your heart. And if you can't put your heart in it, put your heels on and walk away. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. You've listened to Shay Robinson on Hearts and Heels.